World Cup, which saw its climax in 1986, was the 13th organised by FIFA, and for a time it seemed cursed with the ill fortune that the superstitious expect. Colombia, the original choice as hosts, eventually had to decline the honour. Mexico, which staged that wonderful World Cup in 1970, stepped into the breach, even though the country suffered devastating earthquakes prior to the competition. FIFA stuck to the system of 24 participants, first used 4 years earlier in Spain, though they organised the teams in a different manner. A new knockout phase would involve 16 survivors from the first round of 6 groups with 4 teams each. Despite all the difficulties, the 1986 World Cup was worthy of the game's grandest occasion. No European nation had won the World Cup on South or Central American soil. Italy had the pedigree to change that. In 1970, also in Mexico, they'd reached the final, losing to Brazil. In 1986, they returned as holders of the trophy, their squad including several of the stars of 1982, like Alessandro Altobelli, a scorer in that final against West Germany. Italy were drawn in this group, along with the 1978 winners Argentina, Bulgaria and South Korea. Italy, you may recall, had suffered at the hands of North Korea in the World Cup of '66 in England. This group centred on the capital, Mexico City, and the month-long extravaganza of football entertainment started where the competition would finish, the Azteca Stadium. Italy against Bulgaria, the opening game. Opening matches rarely live up to all the hype. At least this one produced some goals, which is more than a string of such games did in the 60s and 70s. Originally, the host nation had set the World Cup ball rolling, but after the previous World Cup here in Mexico, it had been decided that the holders should have the honour instead. Once the dances and speeches had been seen and heard, Altobelli picked up where he left off in 1982. Italy, to their own cost, wasted 3 other equally good chances. Nasco Sirkov made them pay the penalty with a late equaliser. He set off on a personal lap of honour, while replays of the goal from every possible angle were beamed around the world. Diego Maradona was under even greater pressure than he had been as a raw 21-year-old in Spain 4 years earlier. Then he was a wonder boy. His failure to handle the pressure was understandable. Now he was at the peak of his career, acknowledged worldwide as the game's finest player, as well as the richest. Yet he had next to nothing to boast of in terms of international achievement. Argentina had a new manager. Cesar Menotti had handed over the reins to Carlos Bilardo. In Mexico City's Olympic Stadium, Bilardo's men quickly got down to business against the South Korean side competing at the finals for the first time. Jorge Valdano had played most of his football in Spain. He was the attacking threat with his skill and his height. Argentina's 3-1 victory owed everything to Maradona. The South Koreans tried to stop him any way they could. Maradona took his revenge in the best possible way, not by kicking back, by carving the Korean defence wide open time after time. Maradona created Argentina's first 2 goals with free kicks, and their third with a far post cross. The Koreans were delighted when they scored one late lone goal of their own. A fine goal it was too, but their negative approach to the match barely earned it. The clash of the 1978 and 1982 World Cup winners finished almost diplomatically all square. Argentina looked the more impressive, even though they also conceded the opening goal. The 25,000 crowd in Puebla saw Italy take the lead after 6 minutes. The Dutch referee Jan Kaiser awarded a penalty for handball by Oscar Gare. Altobelli struck his second goal of the finals. Argentina had protested long and loud after the penalty award, but impressively and ominously, they refused to let it upset their concentration and set about pursuing an equaliser. Italy had set Fernando Di Napoli, a raw recruit to international football, to mark Maradona. The plan worked only up until the 33rd minute. In the second half, Italy's Bruno Conti hit the woodwork, but neither side deserved both points. Tempers deteriorated in the later stages. Both teams and 45,000 fans earned top marks for effort in a Mexico City downpour, which made much of this match a lottery. South Korea altered their approach. Their match against Argentina had been an exercise in damage limitation. This time the Koreans fancied their chances. They suffered an early setback when Klarman Gethoff, the goal-scoring hero in the qualifying competition, took advantage of a defensive mistake. South Korea refused to take this lying down. They forced several fine saves out of Bulgarian goalkeeper Borislav Mikhailov before equalising midway through the second half. The very name Korea strikes terror into the heart of Italian football. The Italians' defeat by North Korea in the 1966 World Cup finals remains the symbol of ultimate football humiliation. That game had been a decisive one at the end of a first-round group. Now Italy met South Korea under the same pressure. Italian nerves were jangling. After 2 matches, they had yet to win. Altobelli was again the key man, even though he missed the first half penalty. Then he scored twice to inspire relief in the Italians. Their margin of victory eventually 3-2, but the Koreans provided the best goal of the game. Bruno Conti had been many people's outstanding player when Italy won the World Cup in Spain. In 4 years, he appeared to have lost nothing in pace and skill. As ever, he was still to be found where he could do the most damage on behalf of veteran manager Enzo Bearzot. Italy also collected 1 gift goal courtesy of South Korea's defence following a raid launched down the right by Fernando Di Napoli. South Korea contributed hugely to the entertainment in Puebla, and many Italians were wondering whether the trauma of 1966 might reappear. The closing minutes brought a rapid exchange of goals. Hu Jung-moo pulling one back for the Koreans.